biggest city in China and has been a competitive golfer his entire life. He's currently a junior at the University of Central Florida and burning the midnight oil to become our next technological overlord. He enjoys trying new things such as boxing, traveling, and now the Luna Park Toastmasters. Please join me and welcome to the lectern, giving his Icebreaker titled, Discovering Greatness, One Step at a Time, Toastmaster Yuqi Zhou.
Morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Morning.
By a show of hands, who here wants to be great? Okay. But hold on a second. What even is greatness? How can we march towards such an undefined goal? My name is Yuqi Zhou. I grew up in China, and in China, individualism is often frowned upon. And like many people there, my dad had an entrepreneurial spirit, and he started his own automotive parts company. His mindset was pivotal in shaping me as a child. Even at just 5 years old, he was exposing me to experiences like the 2008 Olympics and climbing part of Mount Everest. My dad was always trying to find what talents I had and what I was passionate about. When I was 7, he sent me all by myself for an entire summer to a junior golf academy. While not extremely talented, I often enjoyed it, often practicing in the hot sun while other kids sought shade. After that summer, we decided to visit the US, to a town an hour north of Detroit, Michigan, just for a few months. Suddenly, I found myself in an environment where individualism was way more common and even rewarded. It was still very difficult because I didn't speak any English, but that did not stop me from wanting to assimilate. We never planned to stay in the States for long, so when it came time to go, I had a hard time leaving. I had to sit down with my dad and have a hard conversation with him and tell him that I don't want to go back to China. I didn't want to go back to the school system. I very vividly remember him asking me, "Tell me one thing that will convince me to let you stay here." And what I told him was, I enjoyed learning here in America because education was encouraged and learning was rewarded. As opposed to in China, it was almost like forced labor. When I told that to my dad, it somehow, somewhere, it touched something deep in him. And somehow, surprisingly, it changed his mind and we all decided to stay. My dad loved playing golf, so the following summer, we would spend every single day at the golf course, playing 9 holes and competing with each other. At the time, I sucked, so he beat me every single time. And the whole time we were out there, he'd have this little annoying smirk on his face, too. It made me want to keep going back because I learned to love the game, and I really, really wanted to beat my dad at golf one day. After a long day out in the hot sun, we would go home and tune into the NBA Finals. The idea of achieving greatness, especially in sports, was very synonymous with the entrepreneurial mindset my dad was instilling in me at the time. Subsequently, I fell in love with the idea of being a professional athlete that summer. I dreamt of being great. After that summer, I got a bit more serious about playing golf. I got a coach and began playing tournaments. Every time we went to practice, it was like a military routine. There were no days off. On Christmas and even my birthday, I would still show up to practice. And to be honest, I didn't want to go sometimes. I would just go anyways. My dad was instrumental in helping me hone my discipline. My dad was never a strict parent. He was never strict on my grades or things that most parents would be strict about. However, one thing that he was absolutely adamant about was my attitude. At the time, I didn't really like it, but I've grown to really appreciate it as I got older. Subsequently, I was catapulted into a hyper-competitive world of golfers, where parents will put immense pressure on their kids to perform, where we all eat, sleep, and breathe golf, where your character is judged based off of solely your last performance. And of course, with these experiences came a lot of hardships. I remember countless injuries, playing through them with my teeth clenched and confidence compromised. I remember sleepless nights and countless fights with my dad about my performance and having to perform under crippling levels of anxiety. And to be honest, I loved every single part of it. I loved that the competition pushed me to bring my best foot forward every single day. I loved the meritocratic side of it, where only the best of the best performers are rewarded, regardless of your race, background, or who you know. But above all, I loved that it gave me an opportunity to chase this thing called greatness amongst motivated individuals who all wanted the same thing. I was on a warpath to achieve greatness. Fast forward to today, after putting my professional golf dreams on the back burner temporarily, I'm creating myself through exploring new experiences, things that I would have never reaped the benefits from if I had just played golf my whole life. I'm doing things that I never dared to do, like competitive boxing and speaking in front of you guys today, to overcome the flaws that stopped me on my road to greatness. But most importantly, while trying to walk this road to greatness, I learned something. I realized that it was never about achieving greatness. It was never about the trophies, the bright lights, or the recognition. I realized that what was most valuable this whole time was the experiences, people, and adversity that I encountered on this road. Greatness, my friends, was never a destination. It was the road this whole time. Thank you, Toastmasters.